So with so many people setting getting out walking and exercising more as their New Year's resolution, I thought we'd take a look at Bilboa Loop today. Bilboa Loop is a really nice circular walk based in Bilboa, just outside of Carlow town, and it's up at the top of Collection Hill, so you get gorgeous views of Carlow on the way up in the car. The walk starts at the car park, which is located just beside the church and graveyard in Bilboa. The walk is just under 7 kilometres and should take you anywhere from an hour and a half to 2 hours to complete. So the walk goes through Tomard Wood, which is a beautiful wooded area. This area is managed by Quilcha, so it is important just to obey any signs and regulations that you might see there. When I went, it was autumn, so a lot of the trees had the beautiful autumn colours and leaves, and it was a really nice walk to get out and about. The area is really nice and quiet. We went on the weekend, but it seems unlikely that you would bump into too many other people while you're walking around the loop. As often happens in Ireland, we got absolutely drenched in the early part of the walk with a bit of a cloudburst, but it turned back into a lovely day and we had a great walk and saw a nice rainbow, which was fantastic. Although the area is a managed forest, it has a very wild kind of nature feel to it, and it's just a really nice spot that's accessible, only being about 20 minutes from Carlow town. If anybody is interested, I will leave the link to Bilboa Loop on all trails in the description for the video. Most of the loop takes place on these kind of forestry tracks. There is a small section on the road at the end, so that means that in addition to walking, it's also suitable for things like running, cycling, and it's probably buggy accessible if you wanted to take the family out for the afternoon for a nice walk. So because today's walk was in Carlow, we're going to take a look at a good Carlow whiskey. And for me, Carlow whiskey doesn't get an awful lot better than Writer's Tears. So Writer's Tears is one of the two main brands that's made by Walsh Whiskey down in Carlow. You got Writer's Tears and then you've got the Irishman. The one that we're taking a look at today is the Writer's Tears Copper Pot. It is made of 100% barley. It's a blend which is made of grain whiskey and pot still whiskey from the Walsh distillery down in Carlow. Walsh have just announced recently that they're building a new distillery, or rather they're renovating an old building in Carlow into what is sure to be an absolutely fabulous distillery. I really like this whiskey. It's aged in barrels that used to have bourbon in them, so it's got a lot of those kind of classic Irish whiskey characteristics. And I really enjoy this whiskey because I think it is just a really good example of what a kind of a beginner Irish whiskey is, or a beginner friendly Irish whiskey is. I'm always hesitant to say things like that because I think when a lot of people hear beginner friendly, they think either like cheap or boring or any of those kind of negative connotations. But what I mean by that is I just really love this whiskey. It's very sweet, it's very approachable, and I think it is a really good option if you have a friend that's hoping to get into the world of whiskey, or somebody who you know that's hesitant about Irish whiskey. I think Writer's Tears is a great option for them to dip their toe in the water and see if they like this. And if they do like this, there's elements of Writer's Tears that you can follow a little bit further down a couple of different tracks. Sorry guys, there's a fly buzzing around the main light over my head, so if that's distracting you, apologies. It's distracting me as well. So on the nose, there's just so much of that sweetness that you associate with Irish whiskey, particularly Irish whiskey that's been aged in a bourbon barrel, as a lot of Irish whiskeys are. You get a huge amount, sorry, the flies are all over the place. You get a huge amount of that kind of vanilla, creme brulee, caramel kind of sweetness, and as well as that, I get a huge amount of the kind of orchard fruits. There's a whole bunch of apple in there, there's a whole bunch of pear, there's a lot of that kind of incredibly sweet apple that you might get like in an apple, in a boiled sweet, you know, dark green boiled sweets that are apple flavored, or a sour apple candy or something. The nose is just absolutely delicious, and I think from my personal experience, I think that really holds up on the palate as well. Yeah, again, I love this whiskey because it's got all the kind of classic notes that you'd expect coming from the bourbon barrel. You've got the sweetness, the caramel, the vanilla. You've got a little bit of pot spice on there as well. I'm not entirely sure what the ratio is in this whiskey of pot still to grain when they do the blend, but you definitely get a little bit of that pot still spice on the back of your tongue. And as we said before, it really follows through on all those orchard fruit notes, apple, pear, a little bit of citrus and stuff down on the back end. Not the longest finish of any whiskey you're going to get. It does come and go quite quickly. Yeah, just an absolutely beautiful whiskey from Walsh Whiskey down in Carlow. As I said, there's a little bit of Carlow pride there, but I don't think it's clouding my judgment. I think this is just objectively an absolutely amazing high quality whiskey. For me, it's more of a summer sipping whiskey because it has a lot of that kind of sweetness, freshness, fruitiness, and a light, delicate flavors, as opposed to some people who might prefer to sip a kind of a heavy sherry finished pot still around this time of year at Christmas, if you're watching this video when it's uploaded. But yeah, just a genuinely gorgeous whiskey. So thank you so much for joining us today on Whiskey and Walks. I hope that you enjoyed the video. I look forward to seeing you again. If you are watching this whiskey review in the run to Christmas, happy Christmas to you, and until the next time, cheers. Thank you so much for watching. If you have any comments, I'd love to hear them down below, and I would really appreciate it if you could like and subscribe for more videos. Any recommendations on videos you'd like to see would be really, really appreciated.